I am on a counter roll. Damn, that was pretty cool. That was some really good countering. Oh,
Don't be a bitch. Why you gotta be bitch? Don't be bitch.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 66 of Perpetual Backlog podcast. I am your host, Aqua, like normal, and joining me like they do every week is our capybara Dalit.
Yo, what's up?
And our pizza monster Leek.
Hello.
This is our first special episode for the year in our season 2, and we decided to bring on 2 guests to talk about the recent release of Monster Hunter Rise on PC. Our guests are the menu monster of speed, Lavren. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How you doing?
Doing pretty all right. And the master of the hunt and the god of smoking and barbecuing meat, SLYAKAGREYFOX.
Yeah, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Welcome back. It's good to have you both
Welcome
back.
back. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Talk
Always
about
pleasure.
the game we always love to talk about.
Some of us
So
even like to play it.
Yeah.
I'm playing it right now.
I can't find this bloody unique mushroom and it's really annoying me.
Oh, that'll happen. It's no surprise. I don't think we really need. Did anybody play anything outside of Monster Hunter and 14 this week?
This week?
Yeah, this week.
Did I?
A little bit of
Honest-
PSO2.
Oh, that makes
Oh.
sense.
Hey.
I mean, on Sunday, I think I did some Demon Souls.
Oh, you did. That's right.
Oh, I didn't know you were
Yeah.
getting into Demon Souls. All right. How's that going?
It's fun. I mean, really, it was just to kind of test out the PS5 since I got a PS5 now. Yeah.
Oh, well,
Oh.
congrats. I just assumed you had one.
No.
The fabled PS5, unique and very rare.
Yeah, I lucked out finally. It was part of my Christmas. I pretty much had a good Christmas where I treated myself to a new GPU and a PS5. So
Hey.
Oh,
Man,
Oh, treat yourself.
upgrades.
big spender.
Big spender.
Don't remind me.
please don't.
What GPU?
3080 Ti.
Damn.
Oof. That's a step up from what I have.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
quite a
that's
few
what I
steps up
said,
from
man.
what I have.
Don't remind me.
Hey, it's a singular big ouch now to get away from all the little ouches you'd have throughout the year if you tried to buy this later on.
Hey, that's also a write-off, isn't it? That's a tax write-off.
It is. It is. I definitely will be writing off both.
I certainly hope so. Yeah, I know how much both of those things cost. Matter of fact, I am curious for what you got it, and I'm sorry to make you hurt like this. Which costs more, the card or the console?
Oh, the
sure,
card. The card.
The
hands
card,
down,
yeah,
hands down.
absolutely. Just
The
wanted to
console.
be sure.
The console had to get like in a bundle. Like it was one of those GameStop drops that they had, and
Ah.
it was like before Christmas, and I found out online, and they said that all the GameStops in our area were getting 60, and so there was one like maybe about 5 minutes from me. And so I woke up early, got me some Bojangles, got in line. Everybody had the
Mm.
same idea. Everybody had the same idea, so much so that people were starting to do Uber Eats for the line while they were waiting.
Amazing. You love to hear it.
Oh, wow.
And then even then, like once everybody got like their little sheet with their number on it and whatnot, they still like by the time they would have handed out everything, they still probably had about 20 left, which probably got bought out later in the day. But
Almost certainly, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I got lucky.
Well,
Hey, we take those.
welcome to the family, son.
I know.
Oh, man.
I know.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky earlier last year, as a matter of fact. So,
Same.
I legitimately just snuck into one of those Walmart drops. So I absolutely know what it's like to be one of those handful of the chosen, the few.
I'm really really lucky compared to everybody. That friend of mine had an extra copy of a PS5, and they just said, "I don't really use it right now. Do you want it?" I said, "Sure, I'll buy it off you."
Wow.
Nice.
Dude,
And
your
Wow.
friend
then
coming in clutch.
the same friend, their significant other is really good with like finding deals and building PCs. Like both of them are really good together with that stuff. And they said, "You want a new PC?" I said, "Yeah, for Christmas, I want to buy all this." So I also have a 3080 that I bought for not overly expensive, and it was new.
Oh,
Damn.
I was
Oh,
very,
well
yeah.
done.
it was like 600.
Look at you.
Oh, wow. That is a steal.
Yeah,
That's like
they're
actual
You
MSRP.
got away with
What?
murder.
I mean, they're good. They're good at finding deals, man. Don't ask me. I'm not the one who looks for this. I just have the money and I send it to them and they say, "Here you go."
Hey guys, don't forget to sub to the channel if you're into what you're hearing. While you're down there, remember to like the video as much as we like you. You'll be good now.
Those are some good friends. Those are some good friends. We like to
Oh,
see
You
it.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
friend
great.
coming in clutch with that, honestly. See, I got my PS5 in one of those fabled PlayStation Direct lines that you get in
Oh,
online.
screw those. Those screwed me over so many times. It's like, hey, it's in your cart. Go to checkout.
Nope.
Checkout. It's not in your cart anymore. Wait, what happened? It's sold out. Great.
Oh.
The person behind you got that one instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Need to up those clicks per minute, my guy.
No.
I was at work on my phone, all right, and like I was just scrolling down Facebook and I got one, not Facebook, scrolling down Twitter and saw one of those tweets. It was like PlayStation Direct starting right now, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll click on it. I got in. It was like your wait in queue was like 15 minutes or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well we'll see. Or whatever.
Oh,
And
mine was
I get into the
45.
store. I get into the store and I'm like, can I actually do this right now? And I get all the way to the cart and I hit pay and it says, and it's like payment successful, and I'm like, okay, holy shit. I'm like sitting here at work like tapping on my phone. I'm like over in the photo department. I'm like, okay, I mean I have nothing to do over here except for hopefully buy this.
Excuse
fucking
me,
PS5.
sir. Would you put together this calendar for me? I need it right now. You seem busy, but it's your job, so.
Yeah, fuck you, old man. Go to CVS. No, we were dead that day, thank God.
Hmm.
So yeah, I got lucky with that as well. So now I need to upgrade my PC because it's really shit at rendering. So I need a better CPU. Is what I need.
Your CPU should be fine. You have my CPU, don't you?
Yeah, but it's very slow at rendering like high quality videos.
Fair enough.
So like if I want to, so after I edit this or whatever, and I go to like render it in like 1080p and everything, right? It will take like 3 hours.
Fair enough. All right.
So
Time to step up to the Ryzen 7, or you might as well just go straight through the roof. Just what was it called? The Ryzen. Oh, Dan has one. It's
Threadripper?
obnoxious. The Threadripper. Yeah.
yeah. No, I will get the Ryzen 7. they're like $800. I'm not gonna go for the Threadripper. That's like a graphics
Think
card.
about all the power you would have.
No. Yeah, what to do? What I like all to just render or whatever, because I don't have any other like stuff up on my computer that much or whatever. So I'm like, I
Render
want
whilst you play 14.
I could probably render whilst playing 14 with the Ryzen 7.
It's true, you absolutely could.
So, yeah. So, well, okay. So none of us really played anything other than like your Demon Souls. We all played Rise this week. It's no
Oh yeah.
it's no surprise there. Little does have a question, but I'll save it for the end because it's not a Rise centric question. All right, so you get pushed all the way to the end, Little. So, how's everybody enjoying Monster Hunter Rise Definitive Edition? Because it's literally what this is.
Guess first.
Yeah, guess first.
I love it. We're not playing a damn beta. Thank God. Right. The frames are just incredible. I can't. I can actually play the game. Flooded
Yeah.
Forest isn't grimy graphics grotto anymore, bro.
Grimy graphics grotto.
The frame rate ain't sub 15 and on a good day. Sheesh.
Man, I'll say this, all right. Yes, the frames were absolutely god awful on the Switch or whatever, but at least the game ran decently for it being a Switch game. It's like the best running Switch game.
It was still some black magic they did. I
Yeah.
do not understand how they've managed it.
That's what I keep telling everybody too. That Capcom signed a deal with the devil to make sure that they put that game on the Switch because that is some extremely impressive work.
Yeah, by all rights, that shouldn't have worked out.
Shouldn't have ran anywhere near
I mean,
as well. Yeah.
We should have been back
but it
to zone lines and everything, but nope. Yep, Sly's right. We had the foolish experience. We know better now.
Whenever you run Rise on Switch, your Switch sounds like it's taken off from an airport. Every time, and you're not even supposed to hear it docked. But every time, like, because I'm like right near it, I can hear I had to turn down everything. Like, what's that hissing? Oh. Yeah.
Turns out it's not hissing, it's your Switch praying.
I played it on the handheld version of the Switch.
Oh.
So the screen was really tiny, so I didn't really notice, frames and the graphics not being as good as it could be.
Ah, like the good old days.
I too remember playing on the PSP. Yeah, man, but no, PC version is very, very good.
Yes.
Somebody I was having a conversation with the other day was actually saying they would not be surprised if the game was actually first developed for PC, and then Nintendo said, "Hey, Capcom, have this money, put that on here first for 6 months or whatever," and they're like, "Fine."
Fine.
I guess.
God.
And then everybody's like, please never do that again. Please only come out with PC and good console versions. Please. Develop for the PS5, please. Please.
Yeah, if they develop for the PS5 and the Series X or whatever, then you could actually have cross-platform play because they all like for Sony, Microsoft, and like the PC platform and all that, they would all run relatively the same because they all run it with SSDs or whatever, right? So
Yep.
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any sort of long load times.
Yeah,
that's the dream. That's the next thing that we have to fight for. Now that we've gotten over netcode issues in fighting games, now we all have to fight for crossplay. If you're not into fighting games, you have to fight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, actually, the fighters are still fighting for netcode because there's some companies that are just like, I don't know if we're gonna put this, rollback in there.
Oh, they will once they realize their sales aren't as good.
Yeah, there are people that say, if you do not have rollback, we do not buy.
Straight up, some people just don't believe that fat meat's greasy, but they'll learn. They will learn.
But yeah, no, it's gonna. with the way that Rise plays on PC, like I think the only problem I've actually ran into that isn't like a PC problem, it's probably specifically my PC problem. I do get occasional hitches here and there. And I don't
I
know
know
if
the ones you mean. I also experienced those. Are they specifically in city after interfacing with like an NPC or something?
yeah. It's
Yeah, I
literally
get those
right
all the
after
time as
interface.
well.
Oh, really? Describe it.
It's like they're
It's
reloading the. It's like they're reloading the world state really quickly. It is
yeah,
very
Oh.
quick, but
it's like right after you get out from talking to an NPC, the moment you move the camera or whatever, it just slightly hitches for like maybe less than a frame, but it's noticeable. All right.
Hmm.
But then there's no problem right after that. That's the only like system problem I've ran into in this game. Everything else, fucking perfect. Like this is one of the best playing games on the PC that I've ever touched, and it probably has to deal with it's a Switch game that's ported over to the PC, so it's not really
yeah, it's
graphically
not
heavy.
asking much of you, and all we're asking of it is a solid frame rate. And you know what? We got it. So
Yeah, which honestly, in my opinion, makes me feel like I play a lot better because I sucked shit on the Switch version. This PC version, I feel like I'm doing stuff that I never would have like been able to do. I guess I'm seeing stuff easier on this PC version.
Yeah.
I'm able to dodge out of attacks a lot quicker.
I just think you're bad.
Well, I mean, yeah, I am bad, but I said that I suck shit.
How about you, Sly? What's your initial first impressions?
It's just again like everything plays so smooth, and I guess I lucked out in getting my GPU at a really good time for this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, everything is just so goddamn smooth, and like that's pretty much the main thing. Like I didn't have any problems with Switch besides, it sometimes playing like a PowerPoint presentation at times. But yeah, nothing has really changed like mechanically.
hmm
Like
hmm
it's just so much prettier to play. Oh god. The even once I did the demo with like a few days before the game came out. Um just having that button to copy the lobby ID and then put it in chat. That is
Yeah.
so good.
That's so good.
Holy crap. Yeah, just copy. Here you go. Here you go, chat. Join.
I've
Like
I've
stuff like that.
I've come to like because I only had to do that once when joining your lobby the other day. It doesn't look like you can copy from outside to into the game.
Some people are saying that. Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to because I copied from your chat and then I went back into the game and like control C or control V or whatever and nothing came up.
Mhm.
So I had to copy it like letter for letter into there. But that's the only that's like a mild annoyance, I guess. And that's for I guess a mild annoyance for people that like I guess that aren't normally playing with like their friends or whatever, so they have to play with like content creators that they do lobby codes. With like friends, it's easy because you just click on your friend and you join their lobby.
Actually, because I am difficult in everything I do, I found this much more frustrating than Switch. On Switch, I can literally just jump into a friend's lobby, no problem. I could not do that with yours. I specifically had to have you send me an invite through Steam, and I am permanently invisible, which means I had to get online. Sorry, set myself to online in order for you to send me the invite. In order for me to click on that invite to pop back into the game to talk to the cat, which is a lot more steps than it took previously, which was talk to the cat.
Yep. there's a little
Mm,
bit of strange like rules that you have to adhere to. Another weird thing that I found out, um, I had Rise running, and I made a lobby, and I wanted people to jump in, some friends to jump in, and while I was waiting for them to get their stuff together before they joined, I opened up another game on Steam, and because I guess Steam registered that that was the most recent game I was playing and not Rise, it doesn't let people see my lobby until
Oh.
and then when I closed the second game that I opened and then Steam was like, "Okay, you're playing Rise again," then it was perfectly fine.
Oh, I
So
see.
it really, really revolves around your friends list and like the friends servers or something like that.
Hmm.
It's very particular.
Not in love with that. Easy to get around, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, my experience with joining like friends lobbies is definitely like I always set myself to online. I just I leave it alone, and in game I talk to the cat and just look for my friend's name in the list. And even though it doesn't show the lobby sometimes, I just click on them and click view lobby info, and it'll just grab the info immediately and update it as it needs to,
Yeah, that
and then
Mhm.
yeah,
join.
that's my experience. Is that that's what my experience has been. Is I can just been able to click on a friend's name.
Yeah, and I have a funny feeling it is just because I prefer to be invisible on bloody everything if applicable.
Yeah, being invisible I think does actually prevent that from being easy. It makes it more difficult.
Which is fair
Has
enough, but I do want to put that out there for people.
Speaking of friends, how do you feel about only 4 people in lobby at one time?
I mean, it's the
Not
classic Monster
surprising.
Hunter.
Yeah.
It's a classic Monster Hunter formula.
Yeah.
Um, World kind of changed that with having like the whole lobby. I mean, even still, you can only have 4 people per hunt. There's no real reason to. I guess when you only have 4 people per hunt anyway, there's no real reason to open it up to more people. I kind of wish that Capcom would give us a reason to have more than 4 people in a hunt and in a lobby, but we don't have that yet. So, I mean, it's neither here nor there for me. I mean, a lot of people who played World miss the lobby, miss the interaction that you had just by having a really big lobby, a really big hub. Um, but aesthetically, the hub in Rise isn't that big at all anyway. It
Nope.
it can't it can't really fit that many people. When you try to put how many did we have? 16,
I
I
Yeah.
do
think in
believe it
World.
was in fact 16.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
16
yeah.
people on
16.
it.
You try to put 16 people in that small of a place, you're gonna have issues. So
Mhm.
hopefully Sunbreak might. They haven't said anything yet. I'm looking forward to the streams when they answer
Oh
this.
yeah.
Might have a bigger hub, and that hub might facilitate more people. I don't know. Um, but for me, it's really not that big of an issue now. It's just it's more of a want than a need, I guess, at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, it's definitely not a necessity,
Mhm.
considering they definitely are not making or have not made any sort of like, the only thing they made that was somewhat, "Oh, yeah, you need to have a full," or if you wanna interact with other people in the part in your little party or whatever, you can do the sieges, and even then, you're not even playing with them. You're just kinda working together in your own personal instances with
Mhm.
your parties of 4, and it's like, "Well, cool," but I wouldn't be surprised if that's also like a stepping stone to actually have more than 4 players for at least 1 or 2 specific hunts. That would be Elder Dragons or something like that.
Ooh, like a
Um,
Jen Morin type of thing.
well,
Something of that scale
there
of
was
physical
a
size.
there was a boss that was way bigger than that in Frontier that,
Frontier?
yeah,
Yeah.
that had
Yeah.
all those damn players. There's so many people, but I don't know. It's different. I can understand how they or, like, why they haven't made it. It is difficult to come up with something, that would give people a reason to want to hunt that one thing over and over again, for 1, and 2, uh, how in the world would they incorporate all of those players fighting either one specific monster, fighting two different monsters at the same time in certain areas that are like just kind of uh it's like one map, but the map is cut in half, and those people are like in their own. It's like personal. It's like their own personal arenas, essentially. Like there's a lot of weird, particular ideas and concepts to go about it, but it's very difficult to come up with something that would be like, oh yeah, that actually works really well because you have to work on a fight that works with more than four people. It's a lot to work with. But for me to answer that question, I prefer having more than 4-player lobbies, personally. Yeah, I've dealt with 4-player lobbies forever, but while I like it because it's cozy, um, the very first Monster Hunter did not have that. There was definitely more than 4-player lobbies in the original one on PS2, and then they never went back to it, and then they came back to it until Rise or until World, and I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So you have some form of interest in showing people that you can do this, and this is how you would do it. I like the idea that the hubs themselves are, well, going from World to Iceborne. Hestera was definitely a way smaller hub than Celiana, but
Mhm.
you can definitely tell like how they decided to incorporate people saying we want this to be in the game. We didn't whenever you went to the hub in Estera, there was nothing in there but just the NPCs. And then people had to mod in NPCs to allow you to interact with creating gear, dealing with your farm, and some other settings that the base game didn't have. And then Capcom said, "That's a good idea. We're gonna take that," and then they just did that for Iceborne. It's like so that, and then not to mention they also expanded that hub in general. It was way bigger, which was great.
Celiana was grand, yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible. The only thing that World slash Iceborne was missing was what Rise has now, where everybody in your lobby can just run around in town all together in the village. You can see anybody anywhere, except for I guess maybe your home, and that's it.
Mm, yeah.
And that's really good. That
Hmm.
the only problem is that I mean, of course, none of us knows if Capcom's like, well, we can do that. Why don't we take something from World that we did or Iceborne that we did from that little feature and bring it into this, make the city in Sunbreak, like a kingdom or whatever, however big it's supposed to be, and add more than four people, more than 4-player lobbies, maybe bring it up to 8, have like a middle ground, and allow people to just kind of hang out, sit on like benches or chairs and pose or use their poses outside when they're standing, or have weird little secrets and Easter eggs where you wire bug from weird place to place and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. And
I really like the
that's
arm
just
wrestling
outside.
from World.
That too, yeah. There's no arm wrestling. There's just no arm wrestling in Rise. It's weird. So yeah, I would prefer larger lobbies specifically because Capcom's like, check this out, and then they just stop afterward. Like, yeah, we get it. You can do it. So why not keep at it. If it's too difficult to maintain something like that, I understand it. Especially with this game. With Rise, you can absolutely tell this game was designed to be a portable game. Like that's what they stated. It's made for the Switch. It's the first actual new Monster Hunter game since GU or since Double Cross that has been released, and it's a new title. It's on their new engine and everything. So I guess it just felt like a great time for Capcom to accept the offer that Nintendo sent them, where they said, "Yeah, we're gonna give you all this money. Make this as a timed exclusive for the Switch, and the thing that you want is having a game that will attract the audience that really, really appreciates the portability, which is all the rage in Japan. Like that was just how
Mhm.
Monster Hunter
Yeah.
was. So it makes sense. Um, but I wonder personally, I wonder if with the Steam Deck coming out, if the future of Monster Hunter specifically will be way more convenient if people actually get the Steam Deck, like even in Japan, because then they can just take that with them, connect to wherever I guess is applicable, like a hotspot or something, and then they just play with their friends. So
I wonder about
I
that.
don't
The
know.
Steam Deck is still pretty bulky, all things considered, by comparison to the other things that
True,
are available. And I think that might
that's
be the
true.
one thing that still holds it back from competing with a not the mobile market, but the gaming on the go
Handheld.
market.
Handheld.
Yeah,
Handheld, thank you.
yeah, that makes sense.
But other than that, yeah, I think you're spot on.
My only issue with like maybe thinking that they'll do something like that for Sunbreak would be the fact that they still have to gear it for the Switch as well.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
other problem.
Mhm.
That's why
When when
that's kind
well, I
of
was
why
like
I
when
mentioned like 8-player lobbies instead of 16, because maybe that might be
yeah,
doable.
might be.
I can see. I mean, to be fair, and probably a bit of a bad take for a bunch of people who are just glowing about how great the frames are. But I think I think taking a small hit to frame rate in city wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if it meant we could have more. I don't know, like that cozy atmosphere, a couple extra players, even if we're not hunting together per se.
Mhm.
Just have stuff to do in the city. I would love the idea of like a wire bug thing,
Mhm.
because that was my favorite bit about the training area was getting curious one day, going up into the back and finding the wall and going, "Oh, wait, what?"
Yeah, exactly. There's just I don't know, like I really, really do love the idea of having a town or a city of some sort of village or whatever that just has more room for players that can just kind of hang out. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lobby. That's what it is. It's just a lobby,
Mhm. Yep.
Yep.
and and nothing important, like you said, to the frame rate is ever happens there, unless if you really really care about an arm wrestling championship for some reason, or a drinking competition that requires button mashing or something. I don't know,
Right.
but yeah, like I I don't know. I do love the cozy atmosphere. I do with like 4-player lobbies. I really do. Like it's traditional. It takes me back. Whatever. I'm old. I don't care. But I do love the fact that we can have more people in lobbies.
Yeah.
It it also makes the hub that we're in much more lively. And they also advertise that to some degree, showing multiple players in like the world or like in the Iceborne gameplay. They show all these people just kind of chilling by the hot spring, just splashing water at each other. Somebody's just kind of looking over at the weapons that are on the little conveyor belt thing, just moving along, and there's people that are gathering quests. Like they're showing different aspects, different areas of the Celiana hub, and they're like, "Yeah, this is cool. All this stuff is here, and all these people are doing these things." And it's like, "Yeah, yeah, 16 people wandering around. Someone's drunk on the table. They're not going on the hunt. They're dead. And someone else is flying off to do their like this like that. That's the kind of stuff that's like that joy that you are responding with is what makes the game what it is. And 4 players can still do that for sure, but having more players makes it even I think it like amplifies the feeling of that because
Yeah.
you can AFK, someone else can take your spot if you want to AFK for a hunt, and instead of being 3 players, like I get it, the person that's AFK can come back whenever and join mid hunt. But sometimes people would like to have a full squad going in at the same time or whatever, or for most of the hunt. And if somebody needs to AFK, someone else in the hub, like player 5 in the hub, would be like, I can hop in the meantime. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. I'll come back next hunt or something, and they'll just sit there. Like it's a cool convenient thing.
Yeah.
Um,
How do
I
you think this sort of thing has like facilitated community in like, when you're streaming, you want to play with people on stream, that kind of thing?
um I definitely preferred Iceborne's system personally, mostly because
Yes.
it's it's not really a hassle. I use hassle very, very loosely, but the hassle of, okay, I got my lobby up, 3 people jump in. They jump in. Someone asks,
Mhm.
"You got room?" Uh, yeah, after this hunt or
Oh,
something, after a couple of hunts, sure, I can get room, or no, I'm hunting with a few people. And then whenever there's a case where I can let somebody in, somebody leaves, I say, "Okay, you can hop in." And this is obviously a case by case scenario. Someone could still be there and jump in, or someone could just leave, and I won't know. And then that's like, okay, cool, great. And that's in the case of streaming. Um, I will say the way that the system is designed for joining people and it being 4-player lobbies and all that, it it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion. A double-edged sword with the mindset of I've seen what Iceborne can do. Um, you you have four-player lobbies. Okay, that's kind of negative, but also convenient to some degree. Then it's it's still fairly easy to get into a lobby with people. You can still just kind of message the person in a stream chat or something, or on Discord or wherever, and be like, "Hey, you got room? Yeah, hop in. Boom, join friend. Okay, done." Like you can still do that very very effortlessly, and connecting to that person doesn't take that long, whether if it's on Switch or PC, which is great. So
Yeah.
there are good and bad things to it, and it's I don't know. I guess I could say I'm a little ambivalent about it. I don't know.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
I love
that
it
I
and I
mean
don't love it.
that's the thing that I liked about Iceborne, or like I mean, just World in general, was that like when you made a lobby, you were able to set that lobby to be something that uh that specific like person like will always have up every time they join the online lobby. So you didn't have to like go searching for like a code or like, you know, or anything. You always had it like on a set list of lobbies that you wanted to join. Like, hey, this is Lavren's lobby. I'm gonna hop into this one. Or hey, this
Hmm.
is, you know, hey, it's Sly's lobby. I'm gonna hop into this one. Like, that's what I liked about Iceborne, and you don't really get that with Rise. And I was like telling a friend earlier today, I was like, what I would really like, and I'm not like I mean I love playing Rise. I mean obviously I've been last 20 hours of my life has been nothing but Rise, um but what I want to see is I want to see everything that Rise has, but on the scale that World was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Because
world
you
scale is
want what
huge.
I want. I want World 2. But I
yes.
am still super looking forward to Sunbreak.
How about you, Sly? 'Cause I've noticed in your Discord you've got multiple, like, Monster Hunter voice chats for people to
Yeah.
create, like their own little groups while you're also playing. How do you feel about how it's working so far?
Well, that started with World, honestly, because again, 16 player hub, you know, four groups can run in tandem. And I just kind of kept it. And so like I keep it out of necessity because I know there are quite a few people playing World right now. I mean not World, Rise right now. And there's only a four-player lobby, so I'm like, okay, you may not be able to get in my group, but hey, if somebody else is running, I can make a really quick lobby 2 command or lobby 3 command, and
Yep.
y'all can y'all can put in the lobby information there and run in tandem. And I always like to kind of advertise that because again, not everybody might not be able to get into my lobby, but somebody else is playing too, so somebody could use your help.
Yeah,
So
you can still
that's
foster that sense of community.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking
What?
when you were doing that too. I was like, "Hey, this is cool. Maybe you could do like a sort of like monster hunting race. As in, you have two or more teams and hunting in tandem. You've decided on what hunts you're going to do, and then race to the finish type of thing. That'd be fun."
The only way I can see somebody getting screwed out of that is maybe a loading time.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Other than that, yeah, like yeah, if loading time's not even an issue, then yeah, that'd be cool. I'd be down.
I was trying to look up how many people like the peak number of people playing World at the moment, because I know I do still know that there are a lot of people that still play a lot of World.
Hmm.
But I don't know how to navigate Steam.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now that we're all being spoiled by Rise, this is my last question before I let you else talk. I'm so sorry. But yeah, is that now everyone's been spoiled by Rise and hopefully some breaker as well. What do you expect from World 2? Because it is in production, isn't it? The second World game.
Ooh. Well, it's not gonna be called World 2,
Well,
for sure.
yeah,
Working
almost
title,
certainly not.
sorry.
That I know. That's, like, the only thing for sure that we all know, but I don't it's very tough. I kinda want swimming to return, actually.
Why?
It's
I
been a
kind
Why?
I
growing
kind
sentiment that
I kind of
Sly, do you have
actually want
feelings about this?
he don't like it.
there were a lot of try babies that want
People
that back.
have feelings about swimming. What are you talking about?
See
There was a
see
reason
the
we got rid of it.
see the thing
No.
see the thing is that
Oh God.
with with the experience of swimming, a lot of the combat was slow in a game that was meant to be slow. Rise is a game where it's actually fast, and there's tools that you use even in the air to move fast. They can still incorporate some form of tool to make you move faster underwater, and they also don't have to make underwater combat like, you know, 80% of the game. I'm exaggerating, of course, but like some form of underwater combat would be interesting, but I don't want to like fight 40 specific monsters that love the water. I'm like,
Accordingly, yeah.
yeah, I don't want to do that. Like, I like a nice balance, but I honestly would prefer to see them tackle underwater combat again, not like they did with Try, because with Try it was all new, and they're like, we can try this out, whatever, screw it, why not? But come back to the game, to a new game after years of incorporating different things, because that's what World was. World was a whole bunch of different systems and other things and features over the course of the years that the other games have been released, and all those unique features that all of those games had. There was a little bit of everything taken from those games, and then they just kind of brought it over, because they actually managed to figure out what to do with them to make them better, and they did. They did a fantastic job with all of that stuff. Um, I would like to see underwater combat because by that point, so I'm assuming if it follows the same sort of trend as the other menus and other weird quirky features that World hadn't gotten, I would like to assume that it would get the same treatment. Underwater combat would have some sort of weird technique or something for mobility, like how we have wire bugs and stuff like that for air combat and all that kind of nonsense. It could probably be something for underwater. I don't know. I'd be fine without it regardless. Like, I'm not gonna say like, "Oh my god, I'm hyping it up. I can't wait. I love underwater combat," because no, I hate it. I hated underwater combat and Try. It was the worst thing in the world. The only weapon or weapons that were good were like Lance, because
Yep,
you were
sure
able to move so
was.
fast. And it's like I acknowledge the problems because it's the only thing that was so good. It's funny because Lance and Try was really good because of the mobility, because all it had was a charge attack that never really changed. It was the same thing that they've had for years. And then in Rise, uh, a lot of other weapons are just really, really good in general. And Longsword, in and of itself, is just ridiculously broken, and it has so much it got so much treatment to make it feel like such a fast weapon. And it's like the idea is you can see how fast that the devs can make the game, and at that point it's hoping that the monsters can do unique things that can punish you, which they some do. You got enemies that can dunk you out of the sky if you're not careful.
Mhm.
If you try to wire bug recover from a certain attack, that certain attack is a multi-hitting attack. It's a combo, so you can get hit again, and if you recover a second time you'll get hit again, and then you'll either get stunned or you'll die. Like, there are things that punish you, and i I like that personally. I love that. But that's besides the point. Point is, I would be fine without underwater combat, but I would actually love to see them return to something that they kind of, in air quotes, failed on. Like I would like to see them come back and say, "We did this. This is what you can do with the game. This is what you can do with underwater combat with every single weapon, and some weird quirky tools and whatnot." Like, the game doesn't have to be freaking realistic. Like, we're fighting dragons and wyverns and overgrown spiders and sharks and then the weird things like that. And we're not the hunters aren't even human. Like, that's just how it is. It's just Monster Hunter. There's no fall damage, none of that nonsense. There's bugs that are the size of a building and weird crap like that. It's just do what you do. Just try to make it fun and interesting. So I would like underwater combat to make a return, but only when they know it's ready. Please
Yeah.
don't bring it back again and say, "What if we tried this?" Because then it's gonna be another mixed reception. But
I really like the
yeah.
passion. I side a little bit more with Sly in this case because I lived through that, much like the rest of you. But
Hmm.
I tell you what I do miss about that era, in all subsequent games, is we either lost a lot of monsters, or I guess more specifically, those monsters suddenly feel real gimped.
I can understand that.
Like Gobel is just gone, and to be
Yeah.
honest, I don't
Yeah.
mind that thing being gone personally, but um, that just wouldn't work. And then monsters like Lagiacrus, which now are up on land, just don't feel as threatening. And Lord knows my big spongy boy is a joke, and I love my big spongy boy.
Hmm.
Um, so continuing to use those monsters built for that kind of environment, outside of it, has made them a little bit more disappointing. But I could see it coming back. I could see it with enough love and attention, that being something like 20% of a game, so that no one has to be too salty about it. But
Yeah.
I'd be about it. For me, I mean, for World, I just want more of it. I just want that with more skeletons, more creatures.
New designs.
Please bring the Tonfas over.
Mm,
I know you won't, because that's a
yeah.
Frontier thing, or it's
Yeah.
an online thing. It's one of the two.
Yep.
But I would like
Oh,
them.
don't get me
It's the
started
frontier
on
thing. Yeah.
an online ecosystem. Don't get me started because that
No, no, this is the
honestly,
time to get started.
Yeah.
This is what you're here
honestly,
for. You're here to get started.
uh, honestly, I I want a massively multiplayer Monster Hunter.
Yeah, you do.
We all do.
I want something that is ongoing, and you have your, because there's a whole history of Monster Hunter. There's a whole roster of monsters that we have seen, we haven't seen. I want a reason to keep coming back. I want new monsters, big giant raid monsters,
Oh yeah.
new weapons, magnet spike, please. Um, like there's so much. Like I understand, like in the past, servers have gone down, services have stopped, but with the popularity as it is now, I think Monster Hunter stands to benefit from a massively multiplayer online ecosystem where we have stuff that is ongoing and people are going to keep coming back. And I know that's another sub on top of 14, but I'm willing to pay a sub for this. I am willing to pay a sub for this
Yeah,
to,
I
to
think I'm
have
with you on that.
to just have ongoing stuff and not just fall off, and 2 years later we have a new main number game and whatnot. Just give me a reason to just keep coming weekly, daily, you know, maybe take a break, come back. Hey, there's all these new monsters, there's a new area, there's new mats, there's new weapons, there's all this stuff. I feel like I was spoiled with Frontier for the short time I had
Yeah,
it.
I was a fool.
Hmm.
I thought one day Frontier was going to make it over here. Thought it was only ever a matter of time, and I
Yeah.
was wrong.
Yeah. Frontier had it done surprisingly well. It really did.
Yeah, I
I'm
agree.
not.
I could use another thing to put a sub to, because at some point in time it's going to be the Riot MMO or some other MMO. So Capcom can just come out of nowhere and be like, "Here we go, guys. Here's a really good Monster Hunter MMO." And I'll be like, okay, we'll take $15, please.
I mean, like,
Yep.
not to make light of the narrative that happens in the Monster Hunter games, but I'm going to for a brief moment. I love them. They're lovely, they're cheesy, they're great. But Monster Hunter kind of makes it really simple for an MMO because no one's there for the story. You just
Yeah.
need to put in new bodies for us to beat viciously with new weapons.
Hmm.
And they just need to
Exactly.
drop new shiny things.
I wouldn't be surprised if at some point Capcom's gonna actually make one, but they make an MMO after they go through all of these particular titles where they add something new to the table. Like
Right.
Wire Bug is in,
Mhm.
swimming was way back when. Even taking bits from Frontier. I mean, they take stuff from Frontier right now, even for Rise.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not even like it's no stranger. Like it's also part of the development. And I don't know. I feel like they could, once they kind of get an idea of I guess the reception from people about like, oh yeah, I love this mechanic, I love this feature, this was cool, and I'm like, okay, we can kind of add that in for an MMO, and then they might get around to doing that. Well, they'll have hundreds upon hundreds of monsters and uh, a lot of different areas. Jesus, so many areas to go through in
So
that game.
many.
Yeah, I could see it. Raids and everything. I wish I was able to experience the
The
I don't even,
Raviante?
yeah, I wish I was able to experience that, but um I wouldn't mind something like that either because I mean, we haven't experienced it. Like people in the West have not experienced it unless they, went through all of that the whole nonsense, the whole spiel to even get connected somehow. Um
It did seem like a chore, yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a pain back then for sure. It was a lot easier when Sly and I played it, that's for sure. It was way easier. It was a joke to connect to that game at that point, but also at that point, Capcom was like, This game's going down like a month anyway. Screw it. Let them do whatever they want." So yeah, I loved all that stuff. I my answer about the question was like, I would love to see swimming make a return. I think I wanna change that to in general, not for, like, the next major title, like, not for Gen 6, I guess, because I'm assuming the next game was gonna be a Gen 6 game. I don't think we're gonna get a 3rd game in Generation 5 for Monster Hunter. But I would like to just see swimming make some sort of return where the combat is actually much faster than what we played in friggin' Try, because you can tell it was definitely a beta for that feature.
Yeah, it sure was.
Um, in for like a new next generation Monster Hunter, like an actual proper answer of something that I would like to see is a new weapon type. Honestly, I want a new weapon type. I know it could be difficult to make an actual new weapon design, if you don't want to take the like Tonfa or even Magnet Spike or Excel Axe or whatever other nonsense that they've made in the past, but um, that is a very refreshing thing for a lot of people, and people have also been freaking asking for a lot of these specific things for a long time too. So it's it's not like it's a new thing to Capcom where it's like, oh, they want a new weapon. Oh, all right. Like it's not like that's a thing. But it is a lot of work because you're designing a new weapon. You're designing the animations for said new weapon. Then you have to design the actual motion values, the damage numbers, and everything to make sure it's fair. Then you have to design the weapon types, like every single weapon that X monster has tied to that new weapon. So they make all new brand new designs and weird quirky little animations and sound effects and things for that new weapon type for this specific monster, that specific monster, this joke weapon, that joke weapon. Like there's a lot of work that gets put into it. So I can understand why they're like, it's kind of hard right now. But at the same time, I still would like to see either the return of weapons that have not that are in Frontier, make it into mainline games, or um, or just a brand new one in general, and actually, you know, put whatever effort that they normally do into their games into the next gen game with, I don't know, some other quirky feature. Like in Rise, we didn't have investigations.
It's
Why, I
true.
don't know. I have no
Oh,
idea,
not.
and it felt awful. Because investigations, I say this to people uh, every once in a while. I mention this, and back then when you played like the old Monster Hunter games, a lot of the advertisements, the sales pitch for that game that you're buying, the PSP game or the DS game, whatever that you're buying, is not only here's X amount, here's this number here of how many weapons and armor you can craft. There's also here's this many like quests you can do. There's so many quests you can do, and it's like wow, that's a lot of quests. And then when you get in, sometimes you're like, what the hell? There's like 30 egg quests. I don't want to do this. Where's my kills? Where is there like 30 captures? Like things like that. But their answer to all that was, "We're not going to sell how many quests you can do as to get you to buy the game. We're going to tell you that you can craft all this nonsense, and here's all the monsters that are in this game because
Hmm.
that's the major selling point." And then they said, "By the way, we do have a lot of quests," and then like, they whisper in your ear, "We have plenty of quests for you." And then you're like, "What the hell? Investigations? What is this?" And then you see like tens of different pages of just like all these different small monsters and large monsters with variations of time limits, cart numbers, reward types, and reward money values, and if it's tempered or not, and if it's a tier 1 through 3 depending on which specific large monsters that are in that investigation. There's so many different variables that add to the amount of quests you can have into that game, and then you can share them with your friends. They can go on the quest with you and all that nonsense, and that makes for like the jolly cooperation, the camaraderie, and all that because or let's say we're on a hunt together, or whatever, like, or we're all in the lobby, and I'm like, all right, lads, I got this tempered basil. That'll be chaotic and stupid and fun. Want to head in? Fuck it, sure. And then y'all go in there, and there's one cart. And you're like, wait a minute, we have one cart. And then someone dies, and then like people are screaming and everything. Like there's just little things like that. Someone has a quest that you don't have, and vice versa. You have something that they don't, and you communicate with each other, and there's some sort of joy that comes out of that because you're getting you're getting excited because it could be a fun time. It could be a ridiculous time and dangerous as hell, but the rewards are generally worth the risk because I mean that's how it is. That's how all the investigations were designed. The
Yep.
higher, the worse, the more dangerous it is, the better the rewards are going to be in most cases. But yeah, that's I want that to make it. I want that to be a staple. Generally, I want investigations to just be there forever because that's good.
At the end of the day, we just want shit to do.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
yeah.
You don't have to attach a story to it or anything. I I just want to go get shinies so I can, make
Make
better
new
stuff,
toys.
make new toys so I can fight even bigger bads, so I can make even bigger, better, shinier toys.
Yep. Back
Now,
to the
now,
That's
loop.
all I want.
Back
no,
to the loop.
slide. That's not how that happens, though. It's you get more chances to fight more things to not get the loot you want, so you can fight more things to not get the loot you want to, maybe occasionally getting the
And
loot
I'm
you want.
okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Just give him the
That's
chance to get the
it's
shinies.
Yeah.
it's that chance. It's that chance to get the shiny that gives you that little serotonin boost.
Hmm.
So you're
Yep.
saying
That's what it
there's a
is.
chance.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what
I
he's
mean,
saying.
it all boils like from what you guys are saying. It's like it always all boils down to like pretty much kind of like community interaction because that's one thing the investigations were. And like you said, there were like a lot
Yeah.
community interaction. You're like, I have this tempered monster, and like okay, well I have this tempered monster, and it's like, and this has like 4 gold rewards on it, and yours only has 2 gold rewards on it. And you're like, okay, well fuck it, we'll
Yeah.
do yours.
Mm.
And that is kind
One
of
thing
what
I would
Rise
like
is
to
missing.
one thing I would like to see with that, combining investigations, pooling your investigations together, kind of like what we had in the guiding lands, but it's like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
what if, okay, you have this, I have this, I want to hunt this. Why don't we just all toss them in an arena and just
That'd
play
be
the
interesting.
cards? Yeah, I would love that.
Interesting.
And that's
I
something
would
that they could.
love that.
That's something that they could possibly do with Sunbreak, because one of their big shticks with Sunbreak, or not, well, with Rise was, yeah, we want you to have all the monsters together because you can ride them and make them fuck each other up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that they could possibly do. I was talking to Dalit earlier, and I was like entertaining the aspect of they might put in like a Guiding Lands-esque type thing in Sunbreak. It's
Oh,
a possibility type thing. Like, I mean, we all don't know what's going to happen in Sunbreak. We just know there's
Mhm.
new monsters and a new area. But that's how it was with Iceborne. We didn't really know stuff until they started talking about it. But like, would you guys be like willing to see like a Guiding Lands return in Sunbreak?
Enjoying the video? Remember to like and sub. Helps out the channel a bunch, and we're grateful for everyone we get.
Nope.
No, no.
That was
See,
very easy.
tell you, it's not a thing that's going to work with this type of
Mm-mm.
with this particular game.
Yeah. I
No.
a lot of it for me is that it was tied to the story.
Yeah.
So like
Oh, that's fair.
that would just be like I'd be like, what the hell? Why is there another Guiding Lands? Oh yeah, it's just another Zora Magdaros just exploding off into the ocean. Oh, okay, sure. I guess. Like it's just weird. What weird quirky thing if they were to like kind of repeat that in a sense. And it's an unfortunate thing too because Guiding Lands was definitely really very cool. It was awesome. Um, and it had a very, very good end game loop and all that. It was a very they did a very good job of that. I'm still kind of like, wow, I can't believe that. But it's very difficult to, at least from like from my perspective, from my point of view, someone who's not a developer, I just play the games. I don't know what the hell they could do to match Guiding Lands that isn't already like kind of done in the past. I really don't know.
Mhm.
Like, oh, sure, you can. Sure, if they go down the route of making rampages viable again, I'm gonna vomit, dude. I don't like rampages.
Oh, thank God, somebody
I'm
finally said it.
I mean, I'm fairly sure everyone has said this since the Switch, was all we had.
Yeah,
Rampages are easily the worst part of this game.
They
I
still
well,
are.
I don't know
They
about
still
that.
are.
To
No.
me, it's a toss up between the rampages and charm farming.
Oh,
Okay, yeah,
I
okay,
don't like charm
fair.
farming, but I will say my brain is all over the place on which one I can't decide on what is worse personally, specifically because of at base level what I just said. You know, this is this is that. Okay, yeah, something's worse than the other, maybe in some degree. But then if you look at like rampages, everybody had said that they didn't really care for rampages and how they were designed. Like it's cool at the beginning. It's interesting,
I
and
don't know
then
about that. I don't think it was cool at the beginning either.
and that again to each their own. Like I for me when I looked at rampages, I was like, this is pretty cool. It's a tower defense. Oh, that's interesting. It's something new to put into the game and try out. Sure. And then playing something like the old Monster Hunter games where you just poke Laoshan Lung's fucking
Thank you.
toes.
That's what I was going to compare it to.
Yeah, like the differences between those two are like night and day. And I like how it feels in Rampages because while it's not like something like Laoshan Lung, I like seeing a horde of just large monsters that you can just one shot or something with like a cannon or some weird crap. Like I like that. It's interesting because it's chaotic. And that's cool. But that doesn't last very long because you have to sit through all that for so long, and it's like, oh, please. And with the complaints of the Rampage stuff and all that, whether or not Capcom made like these quests quickly or if they just had it just planned out from the very beginning, um, Capcom decided, okay, so we're gonna give you all of these Apex quests for clearing the Apex monsters for the first time. You can have this Apex quest that you can do. So you're actually going back into the traditional hunts. Then they said, okay, we're going to give you um, near master rank level damage versions of those hunts. So you can challenge yourself and get the higher level tickets that are tied to the rampage. So you still don't have to do rampage. Then Well, it's not Rampage, but it still needs to be said. There were issues with people saying, "I want Khmer tickets. What's the best way to get those? Go to this gathering quest, do this literally like hundreds and hundreds of times, and hope that Fugen will give you 2 tickets. Have fun." And it's like, by myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, and by yourself. Oh, okay. And then Capcom said, "Here's an Ibushi that has more health than it normally does. You're fighting it in Coral Palace. You actually do just kill it, and you get to carve its materials, and you get Kimura tickets every time guaranteed. And you can play it with friends." Oh, okay. So it's like the idea is that they seem to whether or not again, if they decided this before people complained about it or not, something about it seems like the devs understand. Maybe even they didn't like how they developed rampages, so they were like, we want to make quests that are convenient for ourselves too. This just sucks. We don't like this. It's getting kind of
Yeah,
boring.
possibly.
So even at some point they must have answered that. Oh, at some point they answered people's complaints to in some way, um, whether or not they were aware of our complaints regarding rampages. So that's where the scale is more in favor of rampages aren't as bad as charm farming, because there has been an answer to those things to make it feel better by not making us do it constantly. We still have to do it at least once if we want to. If you're like a completionist or something and want to unlock all those quests to do them without having to rely on somebody else to post them for you and all that kind of stuff, you just got to do
Mhm.
them once, and then or whatever, and you get to meet some sort of requirement. You get the quest for yourself. You can post it whenever you want to, and then the event quests give you whatever you need, the vendor tickets and all that jazz, and the material for the apex monster, and then you can do whatever you want. You never have to touch rampages again unless you are helping somebody, or if you just want to grind HR because it's insanely fast or some crap. I don't know. And then if I look at the charm table stuff, it's not great. And there is nothing that we have that answers that fixes it. Look at GU. GU has also is the same thing. You have the charm system, and what did they do to kind of make it a little bit easier to deal with? They made it so that they give you one specific event quest. You can run it as much as you want to, and it gives you a truckload of different charms that you decipher of varying rarity types, and most of them are the highest rarity in the game, which have insanely good skills and slots or whatever. And that was what you did. And the grind was still the traditional go into this hunt, uh, gather ore or kill Bracky in like a minute if you're optimal, and then just exit via subquest, and you get 40 charms. Like there's something there that they did in GU, but there's no answer to it in Rise. So
Mhm.
that's why I lean more towards like, "Ugh, charm farm is kind of not great, kind of booty if you ask me. It ain't that good."
Mm.
So
Mhm.
and my thought process after seeing that as it is and where we are now currently with all these events that we've gotten, crossovers and otherwise, the build that we are in for Rise currently makes me feel like they're not going to add any sort of quest that makes it so you can farm charms easier. And if they do, it might be towards the very end. Why? I have no idea. But maybe they'll also like when Sunbreak comes out, they'll probably already have something in play, whether if it's an event quest day one or an event quest shortly after, once everybody kind of gets their progress through. They like how they did with Iceborne.
Sure, yeah.
They gave you the game. They said have fun with this, and then over time they said here's all these updates and new content that are coming out, and with those major updates, they did some changes to like the deco system or whatever. They made you like I guess near the end of Iceborne, so that you craft all these freaking ridiculous rare decos that you were trying to farm for forever. Like they might do something weird like that because they want you to experience every other piece of new content without having to worry about grinding charms constantly. So
Mhm.
Capcom, Capcom's got some sort of agenda for sure. So
Hmm.
Yeah,
Tinfoil hats on, boys.
I feel like they slightly they or not more they more than slightly know what they're doing. Um,
yeah,
considering
I
they've done
think so.
this for like 20 plus years, right? Um,
Like 15
Yeah.
or so, yeah. A long
uh,
time.
but we'll get more onto that. I guess we'll see what they'll announce for Sunbreak, um, sometime later on this year, because like it's supposed to come out in the summer, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Summer.
So they'll do their little the little reveals. What type of like? Okay, so like with Iceborne, we got the amazing clutch claw. I rolled my eyes when I
Mhm.
said that because I know a lot of people did not like the clutch claw. Do you think we'll get something like not akin to clutch claw, but like some type of change to gameplay
Not
in
as
Sunbreak?
a not as a damage modifier. Dear Lord, no.
I certainly hope not. Anyway,
Hmm.
I do think they'll probably modify the wire bug.
Yes. There's gonna
Just
be
don't
more
know how
switch. There's
yet.
gonna be more switch skills.
Oh, for
Yeah,
certain, for
yeah,
certain.
same.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's
I
I'm
going
can
to be
see
looking
more
that.
forward to
switch
that.
skills. I think they're going to do some. Oh, well, I'm huffing the copium on this one. I think they're
Oh
gonna do
God.
some serious rebalancing on the wire bug. The amount of
As far
uptime
as
that
what?
you have, the amount of uptime that you have is very, very, very fast. There's a lot of uptime on recovery, on using your abilities, your soakbind abilities. You can use them very, very, very quickly.
Mhm.
And
Wasn't
some
that the point
weapons.
though?
I think it is, but there's also I think a point where it becomes a little too much. Like
Sure.
some weapons absolutely outclass other weapons, like effortlessly by comparison.
Yeah.
Like for example, like longsword for example, there's too much that longsword has. It needs to be adjusted, like heavily adjusted. But I also don't want it to be a case where they nerf longsword into the ground because everyone's complaining about longsword, and then they don't really do anything wild or crazy or bombastic with every other weapon. They just say, "Nerf that one. Leave that, like, do some buffs to these and leave it alone." No, I would like it to be actually actually adjust what's crazy about longsword. There's too much uptime. There's a lot of quality of life that kind of feels like it shouldn't be connecting to like certain move sets and whatnot. Like it's kind of crazy, but I don't. In my mind, years ago, if I remember correctly, the devs of Warframe for the longest time had said they would prefer that they buff instead of nerf things heavily.
Yeah.
Because if you nerf something, you're going to make someone upset because the
Mhm.
thing that they enjoyed so much is now not what they expected it to be. And then everybody else who never really wanted to interact with that thing at all is going to be complaining. They're going to be complaining about the thing that they love instead that hasn't had any attention. So instead of just straight up nerfing something into the ground, the devs decide to buff literally everything else. So that everybody else that loves using that one gun or that one melee weapon or something can enjoy it even more. The
Mhm.
complaints that they had are finally addressed. The weapon can actually keep up with other weapons in the game and has better build potential or things like that. Like a lot there's a lot that just becomes available to you when that one weapon that you love so much finally gets the attention that it deserves because the developers want to, instead do that. They want to just buff everything. They say screw it. I mean, and yeah, we need to rebalance some things here and there. Like the damage on this is overtuned, and motion values might be insanely high, and things like that. But also, we're not going to just remove all these things outright, or we're not going to make it like insanely awful and then buff everything else. No, because that would be horrible balancing. That would not. That's not how that works. It's supposed to be an actual balance. And there are things that are insanely overtuned in Rise. Bow is broken. Longsword is broken. Light bowguns and bowguns have been broken forever, but that's besides the point. Like it's all just all over the place. It always has been, but it's a hell of a lot more apparent in Rise with some of the melee weapons. Lance has some good damage upkeep, but the amount of effort you have to put into it for a normal player, someone who just wants to have fun with the weapon, well, they'll be like, "What the hell? This is awful. Why don't I just play longsword?" And you would not believe how many times people have said that in my chat. They would actually say, "That looks like too much work. I'm gonna just play longsword because it's easier and it does more damage." And I'm like, I mean, you're not wrong. And you do you. So I would rather buff just the things that are lacking with X specific weapon. Add this new feature, add this new wire bug skill that could change it up completely. That for the better. Which is again, I know it's hard to do and everything, but I would prefer them buff and then balance some things that are overtuned instead of just nerfing everything or everything that's buff that's overpowered in air quotes to the ground, and then deciding to buff everything else that isn't up to par. Because then it's just roles reversed. Then
Yeah.
it's like no different except for just the weapon type you're using. But then we have the same scenario, so
That's the
it
I think
sucks.
that's the kind of the same design philosophy 14 has most of the time. They don't like to really nerf jobs in 14.
Hmm.
They like to bring other things up to like the said overpowered jobs. Um,
Yeah.
so 14 devs like to do that too, and I can see hopefully Capcom doing that with some of the things. So I didn't know that bow was broken. Is bow broken? I use bow, but
Yes,
I don't feel like it's broken.
it
What's
is.
so broken about it?
The damage modifier for elemental damage is not what it should be, and it's a lot higher
Oh.
than it should be. It's not. I think it's something like it's not calculated properly or something like that. I can't remember, but it has never been addressed, and it's very, 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 very strong.
Sweet. I look forward to being broken later on in my life.
You could literally look up speed runs on of Rise and like look up like a bow speed run of like a certain hunt or something, and that run will probably be it'll probably be like a minute or two.
Jesus.
It's kind of ridiculous.
um. Well, for weapons, what is everybody's favorite like weapon iteration in Rise? Because I mean, obviously they feel a lot different than they did in World. So
I will go last.
you will go last. You Leak. You've played a little bit of both Switch and PC Rise. What's the weapons you
Yeah,
like to use?
because I've been soloing a lot of things. I've just been using sword and shield right now. Mainly, it's like the most comfortable for me at the moment. I really need to actually go into. I'm curious about the switch axe because I did use a bit in World, and I enjoyed the big screen effects they had on that. I really want I want a hammer time. I like big hammers, but it's so freaking slow. I know I haven't tried it at all in Rise though. I don't know.
What about
I used to. Hmm?
I
Oh,
said, what
good.
about have you tried the bow? Have you tried the bow?
I
The
did use a
bow's
bow in
good.
World. I used a bow in World. I haven't used it in. I use the heavy crossbow more than the bow. I like the
Eh.
daka 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 of the heavy crossbow.
Ah, Wyvern Heart, my
um.
love.
What about you, Sly?
The broomstick.
The bow.
What was it? The American Lance?
The American.
Yeah, I do see you like flying all the way across the screen all the time on that thing.
I mean, that not only that, charge shots just feel good to just everything about that weapon just feels so good. The dash, um, just like having the shield, having the protection of a shield while being able to shoot, being able to, do melee damage and burst damage with it too is just so amazing. Of course, swag axe.
Mhm.
I Of course, I'm using Gunlance to get all my swag axe materials and whatnot, and then I'll be good on swag axe. But the boomstick, the American Lance.
American. um. So my history with weapons in Monster Hunter have been I played when I started World. I played the bow, and that was
Mhm.
fun. For a little bit, and then I swapped over to the long sword. Um, I'm not really too into the. I'm not like melee weapons or whatever, but I guess I suck shit with like being in close and personal with the monster, and so longsword was fun. It wasn't for me. And then I ended up being a insect glaive main towards the end of Iceborne, and
Oh, I got something to say about that actually.
Insect Glaive's so much fun, and I haven't tried it in Rise yet, but I hear it's a
That's what I
lot
wanted to
better in
say. I
Rise.
forgot. I loved it in World and Iceborne, but I didn't like it in Rise because I think mainly because you can't focus target. That's my problem. Not really, not as easily as you can in World anyway. You have to switch the camera around and stuff like that. It got really annoying.
So I haven't touched it yet, so I don't know. But most of the people that I've talked to that played the Insect Glaive in Rise, they said that they really like it. But currently for Rise, I'm playing the bow, and after hearing that it's OP, I might stay with it just so I can be the guy that plays the OP weapon. But what really sold it for me for bow when I played on the Switch was when you got aerial aim. That was like the one thing that World was missing when I had the bow was like for me a good aerial attack with the bow.
Mhm.
Because like the only way I was able to do that was jump off a fucking cliff
Yeah.
onto the monster, and that was it. But aerial aim, it just makes it feel so good, and I guess that's like one thing why I gravitated towards the Insect Glaive in World was because you can just fucking stay in the air,
It's very
perpetually.
fun, yes. Yeah. And I think I just need to have another go at it because once again I was on the handheld version of the Switch. I think that's what impeded me the most. It wasn't fun.
That's true. That's also another thing I'll get into for PC, but yeah, I'm liking the bow. Dalit hasn't told me he came back yet, so I guess we'll skip to you, Lav.
Yeah.
Well, I know people see me use longsword all the time, and I do like using longsword a lot because I love the changes for that weapon over the years. I like seeing that weapon evolve. Um, aside from all of the crazy complaining about like the motion value stuff, like the specifics on how overpowered that weapon is as well, I I personally like that longsword in its current state ended up becoming what it is because it's a weapon that's themed around like katana use, sheathing, unsheathing, countering, parrying, whatever, all that kind of stuff, and speed. Like it's about being able to like do what you want, do what you need to do quickly, but also having patience in certain moments to make the right decisions, and that leads to like some sort of satisfaction because you might get a cool counter, you might get a like a break or something like that kind of stuff, and it's great. I honestly think longsword is the best iteration it's ever been in the series, based off of the freedom you have to do so many things. Um, but I actually don't know what I would say is my favorite because a lot of the weapons I think are probably the best they've ever been in this series as well. Switch Axe is absolutely incredible.
Mhm.
There is no denying that weapon is the best it's ever been in Rise. It is the
Yeah.
best in Rise. That weapon
Yeah.
has that weapon has 100% uptime. It has infinite ammo if done correctly. It has aerial capability. It has an aerial follow-up, with your usual zero sum jump onto the monster and all that. It has very, very good mobility with dodging and using a morph attack after the dodge to get yourself some extra distance. And it works especially well if you're using evade extender. You're just flying all over the map. It's crazy fun. There's a lot, and there's also super armor on like some of the other like the other Wirebug skill. Now, on the other Soakbind ability. If you don't want to use the aerial ability, you can use the ability that gives you super armor. It's a gap closer. So you can be more of a on the ground kind of player for for your own personal style. Um, and while it, while it's the last ability I'll mention for Switch Axe, the condensed ability where you charge the Switch Axe and then blow it up. It's a really cool animation. It's very stylish. It's not great for multiplayer because if someone's nearby, you will send them flying and make them mad a lot.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, I'm still glad it's in the game because it looks really cool and I can make some really sick screenshots with it based off of like finishing kills if done properly. but I don't use it often. I genuinely love um like the rotation for switch axe is wild swing and then overhead slam, get the buff so that you can build the meter faster. Go into sword mode, swing a few times, get max meter. Zero sum discharge, jump on the monster, mash the button, blow up, go flying, use your wirebug skill, dive right back into the monster before you touch the ground to touch the ground, dodge roll if you need to get out of an attack, morph if you have enough ammo that doesn't do some weird funky reloading animation, and then use your other wirebug ability to give yourself ammo while you're away from the monster, and that while it gives you ammo for your sword mode, it also gives you infinite ammo for a couple seconds, so you can do a couple swings or whatever if you're fast enough, and that's all you do, and that's a proper rotation. While and like just kind of combines, it becomes so smooth and it just feels really good. And you also have super armor when you use zero sum. You take damage and all that, of course, but you still don't get like knocked off because I don't know because the game decides you just can't hit the monster or something, you know. So switch axe is also very very good. Um, like you said before, Aqua bow having an aerial shot is really really incredible. It also being incorporated into your own rotation as well to do insane amounts of damage is also very, very unique and clever. There's a couple shots, max your shot level, do a couple spread shots, pull yourself in the air immediately after, shoot at the ground, and then I guess do a melee attack if you want to just finish it off or something. Like it all carries over your charge level and does a lot of extra damage. Um, Insect Glaive I think is very, very fun too, but not because a lot of people really, really don't like IG from the people that I heard that don't like IG, they don't like it because at least when the trailer first came out, they saw and they said it doesn't seem like Insect Glaive got anything in particular, like nothing crazy, awesome or anything compared to every other weapon, and the trailer definitely doesn't uh definitely doesn't tell you anything about it. Um, but when you actually get to play Insect Glaive, when you see that the bug upgrades are a hell of a lot more streamlined because they're tied to the weapon that you're using instead, um, and the ability of which is another Monster Hunter games, of course, but like you have different bug types. Having like an assist bug with a dual effect on it, so you can get two buffs at the same time. So you don't have to worry about one, two, three every single time. You just do two hits, and then if you aim properly, and you get them all. That's very convenient. There's the ability that you can parry attacks on IG, which they didn't show you, when I'm glad they didn't because then people would be going ballistic over it and they'd be like, okay, that's kind of ridiculous, you know, like there's a lot of really interesting things. They have another ability where you mark or you throw out your bug and then you do like a stationary combo like you press like circle or A on your Switch controller or whatever, and without any other move like analog input, and you just kind of twirl the insect glaive around you and just keep smacking like ahead of your character, and those hits do additional damage. If you have a, like I think if you have an assist bug, the bug attacks with you and does like whatever whatever dust effect that's like tied to it. So you can actually paralyze or poison or do some blast effects and things like that to the monster while you're hitting a weak spot or something, and the bug is there swinging around and whipping all over the place with you when you're just trolling the IG everywhere. It's really interesting, and it feels good to do too. And it also works if you have a blunt type bug, so you can KO with it if you want to. If you hit the head, there's a lot of unique things about it, and that's what I love about IG as well. So there's just it is so hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
Hammer. The fact that Hammer gets a guard point or a parry, whatever you want to call it, like man,
How does that even happen?
you just fucking bonk and that's it. You just press one button.
Yeah,
Button for
I
both.
do hear that. I do hear that Rise's weapons are like there's not a bad weapon. There's not a objectively like you're just shit if you play this weapon.
I don't know about that one.
Oh, okay.
I honestly don't know really like in general because from what I understand, people don't really like Lance in general like at all. They don't really like it's. I don't hear people talk about Lance positively like whatsoever whatsoever.
Ah, what's the
Yeah, but
difference
why?
between Lance and Gun Lance,
Yeah,
though?
I was say why play
Besides the
Lance when you
boom.
can play Gun Lance? That's probably their thinking. It's like why play Lance when you can play Gun Lance?
Yeah, the
So
thing, the Gunlance has a lot of Gunlance has its mobility back. It's insane mobility
Mhm.
with Blast Dash. It has like Slash said before, you can guard and shoot. You can also guard and Wyvern Fire, and the guard actually freaking works now.
Mhm.
Uh, there's just a lot of very nice things with Gunlance. The combos themselves still mesh well together. The Wirebug skills are very useful. The very first Wirebug skill you get, what was it, Hail Cutter or whatever it is, where you
Yeah.
throw yourself in the air, that cools off your Wyvern Fire gauge. Like, what the hell?
Yes.
Like you just look at it and you're like, what the hell? That is actually fucking cool. And it reloads your gun lance at the same time. Like it does literally everything it needs to do in one skill. Like it's
yeah,
very convenient. So and then when you look at like Lance is literally the exact same it's been, even with its switch skills. All it gets with its switch skill is uh mobility. And the mobility is kind of funky compared to like other weapons of mobility self-bind skills.
I'm gonna be honest. Poke, poke, backstep, poke, poke.
Yep,
It's still like a
Yep.
go-to.
yep. It hasn't really changed that much, like, or if at all. So that's why it's pretty lackluster compared to the other weapons. But it's still nice that you can still do the things that you did in Iceborne or in World, that you can do in Rise, except for of course the Clutch Claw specific things. Like you
Right.
can't do the counter lunge into the monster, super armor, blah blah blah. Like aside from that, but being able and also Power Guard having an inherent guard up effect if you guard for longer than like 2 seconds. That's not in Rise, I don't think. But at the same time, Rise building a set in Rise is so easy. You can get a guard up set, no problem, and still have damage. So it's you don't really think about it. But I think Lance is probably just the weakest out of everything. Sword and Shield is insanely fun. Perfect Rush is badass. Metsushou Yugeki is really damn good. It's satisfying when you counter a monster and just beat the shit out of it with like KO damage. The iframes are very good and generous. Even Windmill it has iframes and that's very good too. There's just a lot. Dual blades I think are also very good. They actually gave it its aerial capabilities back from aerial style and GU. Um, they have like an actual burst effect with like the exploding kunai thing. That's pretty freaking sweet. They have a parry, so there's actual like defensive capabilities. There's just
just too
there's
much.
a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. Greatsword's kind of I don't know, man. uh, I don't know about Greatsword. Like True Charge Slash is cool and all, but I liked Rage
Good
Slash a
luck
lot
using
more.
it.
Yeah, I like Rage Slash a hell of a lot more. Greatsword gets a damage increase slash a dodge tied to their freaking one Wirebug skill. That's sick. They get a gap closer with super armor that goes into a charge attack as well, which is also really sick. That also follows up with either True Charge Slash or Rage Slash respectively. So whatever you want to choose, depending on your own style, is it works. But I just love Rage Slash. I love the idea where like my character is like hunkering down and charging so hard that the ground is breaking, and if something hits me right as I'm about to let go, I take the brunt of the hit, and depending on how much damage I take, how hard that hit is, I will send that shit back and just cut a tail off in one hit. Just the sequence of events that lead into like a tail cut or stunning a
Mhm.
monster or like staggering it like imagine like you're fighting Tigrex or something. He's charging back and forth and he's about to hit you or some crap, and you just even though Rage Slash the idea is you want to hit him before he hits you, and that's not good for Rage Slash. But like the idea that you're still doing that animation where you like brace yourself like that meme from Seinfeld with the dude with the baseball bat, and he's like ready to swing.
Oh
It's like that, but
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it's like that, but you're swinging. You're getting ready with the great sword, and you overhead slam and you bonk him in the head, and you just stagger him. Like just again, sequence of events that lead into that is really, really satisfying, and that's the point of Greatsword. Like you're slow as hell, but when you can make that hit land, oh, does that hit feel good? Like it's very satisfying. I ain't gonna talk
So,
about light bowgun and heavy bowgun. I'm not gonna talk about those. They're
so
they're
we're
they're, they're
pretty
fun.
much.
Well,
What? Go ahead and leak.
I was gonna say, what about you, Sly? Like, is there like, did you have like a weapon you really liked throughout the whole series, like your favorite, or do you like? Is there something from Will? Do you
The
prefer
switch
less or
axe, right?
more than in Rise?
Great sword used to be my jam. Used to be.
Used to be. What?
Used to be. Yeah, I know. I know.
Then he played switch axe.
Um, and then I played Switch Axe and then fell in love with everything that Switch Axe was. And then I tried American Lance and fell in love with everything that American Lance is. I've done a little bit of bow. Bow is nice.
Bow.
What else have I done? I really want to do sword and shield, but when I try to do sword and shield, it just didn't mesh with me. Everybody else is like freely flowing with that shit, and I'm like, more power to you. That's fine. Um, I don't, I don't know about Insect Glaive. I really don't know. People say it's the Dragoon's choice of weapon. I mean, it's basically what it was in World anyway.
I can see it.
It,
Fair
it,
enough.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, and I remember GU Insect Glaive was just how they just did shit. Like aerial Insect Glaive was just you never touched the ground, and like I thought that was crazy to me. Um, there's just hammer. I actually done hammer too. Hammer was pretty fun as well. Not gonna lie, like it's meaty. It reminded me so much of Greatsword that it was
Mm,
just easy to pick up with a little more versatility, a little more mobility. Um, but yeah, when it all comes back down to it, you know, Switch Axe will be my first love. Gunlance easily, slowly but surely creeping up as a favorite. just I just want I really want another weapon though. I want more variety too. Like
yeah.
we always go by our old standbys and everything, and I want them to shake it up, give us something new to use again. Like you say tonfas, you want
Mhm.
tonfas, huh? hmm
Mhm.
I want the magnet spike. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
I've seen the animations on that. I know why you want it.
It's
It looks
ridiculous.
satisfying.
And
It is
even
so over the top.
even better, I want Frontier Switch X.
you, yeah, I know.
Oh my
I know.
god.
I know.
Oh my god. If you've never seen Frontier Switch X, if you never felt it, running with the sword is just the most amazing
Yeah,
thing ever.
it's very satisfying.
Listen to
It
that
is
glee.
so satisfying. Oh my god. I miss Frontier so much.
Stay strong, brother. Stay strong.
I can't.
Well, with that, we'll go into our last thing here because it's Dalet's got to be up very early in the morning, and I don't want to keep too long.
Appreciate it.
What is the? Because we talked about Sunbreak a lot. What's the one thing that if they had to put anything in that you wanted? What's the one thing you want in Sunbreak?
I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but seeing the monsters. I hate to keep harping on the Frontier train, but give us something beyond Master or G rank. Something that like really kind of makes you like awestruck kind of whenever you first see it, it gives you that like inspiration. You just look. It's like looking at like not really looking at a train crashing, but a thing of beauty. But at the same time, once it gets going, it's complete fear of God.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You
that's
talk
what
a
a scene
lot.
is about.
You talk a lot of nonsense for someone who's not ready for like Ultra Instinct Banabra.
I keep saying that everyone should experience Vol'jang at least once in their life.
Oh,
Ah, fair.
man, what a good fight.
God, I mean, it's so good. I mean, it's not Rajang, but it's a Rajang that does fire shit
He's a
and can
giant,
summon.
flaming, raging, horny
Yeah,
monkey
yeah,
man.
Devil
yeah. Just give
monkey.
us,
He's also
just give us
huge.
stuff. Give us stuff that puts the fear of God in us. That's what I want.
I know Dollar
Mhm.
wants Gormagala, right?
I
Oh,
mean, yeah,
Kurmagurg.
I'm a simple man. I love my big Grim Reaper dragon. I love its moveset. I love the mini game you play when you fight it. I like some of the weapons that you get off of it. I just really like Gore and Shigaru.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, like in a super selfish way, I guess that would be my response. But quite frankly, like Spike, God damn it, Sly hit it on the head. I do want to see like I want them to add G rank, and then I don't want that to be the end of it. I want them to surprise us with one more as we wait for whatever the next Monster Hunter is released.
I want super giant monsters. I want Dalamada, the giant snake from
There
4.
you
Yeah,
go. There
Oh
you
boy,
go.
get
the,
Genmoron,
the
get
scale of it
Braviante.
though, fucking hell.
It was really cool.
Mhm.
Oh man. Please bring back investigations, Capcom.
Well, I love how we're all just, I want this monster. I want these set of monsters. I want that monster. I just want investigations.
It's a
Please.
mood though. I get it.
It's
I get it.
it
It's a
really
mood.
is it really is what kind of like ruined the replayability. Investigations added a lot of replayability for World when it was only World. Um, and while it is a very simple answer to just to one investigations, if I wanted something crazy or over the top, I would say like Tonfa, or I would say a brand new weapon, like finally getting a new ranged weapon, because we have too many close quarters ones. We have too many
It's
melee
Yeah.
true.
weapons.
That's
You
fair.
should give us dual pistols. Give us dual pistols.
um,
Dauntless has
yeah,
them.
I would like uh either like Tonfa to come back or a new brand new weapon, but preferably on the ranged side specifically.
Boom, chakram.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Tonfa as just for what it is, I honestly just felt like it was Insect Glaive before Insect Glaive, and
That's my thoughts.
yeah, and
Mm.
they did a very very good job making that weapon and balancing it over time, of course, but they did a really really good job with with like just the concept of it, and the fact that they didn't want to bring it over, no matter what the reason may be, is just depressing because it was really really cool. Magnet Spike, while it is really interesting and awesome, it is very, very over the top for the style of what it is, for what Monster Hunter is. Even for something like Rise, it is very, very over the top. So I mean, I wouldn't be against seeing it again, but I wouldn't
Sure.
Yeah,
want
I mean,
I don't want to see
it's
it
a
like
similar over the top as longsword.
I guess so. A lot of what I remember from Magnet Spike is just like the ability to just have your own portable trap whenever you want to, and then
Pretty
just like
much.
mash buttons. Like things like that, I think are interesting as long as it's not like as crazy loose as how Longsword is currently in the game, where you can just kind of do whatever you want to do, as long as it's balanced,
Mhm.
and I'm fine with it. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But I just really, really want a new like the idea that when I say that I want Tonfa so badly, it's because there are not many blunt weapons in the game.
Correct.
There's like two. Oh
Hammer
boy.
and hunting horn. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
And Tonfa technically did have both a cutting and a blunt form essentially when they first came out. And then they said, okay, we gotta kinda tone this down a little bit. That's a little bit too much freedom. Um, but even just making Tonfa just a blunt weapon and that's it is perfectly fine, while keeping the other mechanics of like shifting modes that change your attack styles to heavy or light attacks, launching yourself in the air with like that little piston stuff and air dashing around, getting a buff system and all that kind of stuff going on, and
Mhm.
hitting the monster enough times and then detonating those points to get like a lot of damage output and things like that is fucking cool. That shit is actually fucking awesome. Um, so I really would want that to make a return in some point. But yeah, and in terms of like monster stuff, I don't know. I would love. I'm always someone that also would love to have like all these other monsters come back and everything and all that jazz. But recently, after asking the question to some other friends of mine too, um, I I would like there to be a lot more brand new monsters to be in Sunbreak. While I do love them bringing back some fan favorites, whether they've been in the game recently or haven't been in the game forever since their first debut, I love the idea that they would just be like, "How about we create this new monster and it's just like it's a vampire, it's a dragon vampire, isn't that fucking cool?" And they're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah, it
is."
is.
That's cool. And then when they showed the trailer for Sunbreak, the more recent one, they had the fucking ice Odo or whatever the hell that thing was, and it's like, what the fuck is that? That thing's cool. Like quite literally cool. That's interesting. Like it's pretty sick that there's like an ice version of some sort of Odo variant or not that's what it literally is, but like just another four-legged animal or monster or whatever that that shoots ice and has some cool ice moves and things like that. That's really interesting. Um, another friend, one of my friends, he and I were talking about like subspecies or variants of current monsters in base game Rise, and he was saying he would have loved to see a variant or subspecies of Gos Harag where instead of him having ice, he he resides in muddy areas. So he like punches the ground and gets his arms coated in mud, and then he breathes fire and hardens it and then uses it as weapons.
I would get hyped for that.
Like
Oh, that'd be so
unique
cool.
things like that. Like I was like, bro, what the hell is it? What is you Clayface? And he's like, yeah, it's Clayface. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like it's interesting, and there's in to some degree there is something like that in the game now in Base Rise, and that's Almudron. It's literally just Mud Mizu. It's Daniel and the Cooler Daniel. Like that's what it is, you know. Like there's some sort of. I mean, of course, they're still similar because they're both water and everything. But Almudron has acidic mud. Like what the hell's in that thing that burns your skin? Like what in the world's going on there? You know. Like there's just really interesting things about the fact that there's still like an aquatic leviathan of some sort, but but uses a lot of mud, and the mud burns you, and you can create a freaking giant basketball and slam jam you and all that kind of stuff. You know, like little things like that are really interesting. And sometimes the little details, even if it's something like, oh, it's just another water monster, but it looks very different and has a different theme and everything and all that, they still go a long way. So I would still love to see a handful of brand new monsters while also still, of course, bringing back some fan favorites. I prefer, like, how in Base Rise we got Gyrototus to come back. Like we only got Jira in one game. He debuted in World. Okay, bring him back. That's fine. Toby, bring him back too. Ange, bring them back. Jagras, I don't know why isn't in the game personally, but I mean I'm fine with or without him because he wasn't very like very creative. He was just actually designed as a tutorial first monster.
Yeah.
You don't see You never saw Cutku making a return into any of the major games unless it was like the PSP games or like GU and stuff like that because that GU is an anniversary game. Of course, they're going to bring back whatever the hell they want to. They don't. It doesn't matter. Anything's free game. But like some tutorial in air quotes monsters, if they can make something interesting out of them, because Gyrototus was still was easy to bully in World. We all bullied the crap
Oh, yeah.
out of Mudfish, but then they decided, okay, make him high rank only, and give him like some other unique abilities and just make him tankier. Like and he actually isn't like an annoying monster to fight in Rise. He's actually still pretty fun, and he's not. He's not like entirely a pushover compared to World, so it's an improvement. And Anjanath is also he's still a pain in the ass, but he's still he was still an earlier monster, but he's not like a tutorial type. But it's good to see him come back because they want to give you more time to enjoy like the monsters that were the more newer types. Um, and I like that they bring back newer monsters that were released in a recent game into the next game while also making brand new ones. And then for like a small little portion of the roster, they bring back the ones that people really, really want. People have been clamoring for Legiacris. People have been clamoring for Gore. People have been clamoring for Steve. They've been clamoring for I don't know, Zamtrios
Does anyone want to
and
fight
all that.
Steve? Do you just want his weapons? I'm on to you, community.
We just want Steve versus Basil.
Yeah,
Well,
so yeah,
understandable, fair.
yeah. So there's interesting there's definitely some like there's a lot of people that just talk about their own favorite monsters, and I would like them to have I would like Capcom to be like, we should go around to create our own designs, make the usual things we want to do, whatever inspirations we want to take, and then we we recreate Gormagala for in 4K, whatever the 4K textures, whatever the hell they advertise for the
Oh,
PC version. And the same thing with Seregios, the same thing with Zamtrios, the same thing with what's his name? Friggin' he's not in the game, but Hojo rides him. I can't remember his name.
that's Capra.
Tetsu.
Tetsukabra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Tetsu could come back as well, and, like, just things like that I would love to see make a return, and I prefer that because at least people would be happy. The amount of people I've seen that want Gormagala is insane. Like, it's
Mhm.
absolutely insane how many
Mm-hmm.
people are just like, "Go, go, go, let's go," and Capcom's like, "No." Like what the
He
so,
had
yeah.
his game.
Yeah, like, and I would love that. I would love to just see, like, 15 or so different or new monster brand new monster types and, like, 15, returning as in the ones that people want, the old ones that have not been back yet, and some of the new ones that are making a return again as well. Maybe they'll bring back Nergi in Sunbreak.
Oh, please
Um
don't say that. Please don't say
and
that.
he's a newer type. Maybe they'll bring back
Mhm.
Yamasukami, and he's an old type. He
Oh
hasn't been
man,
back in the
people
game yet.
speaking
Ooh,
about monsters people have wanted for ages. Yama, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Amatsu.
Amatsu, yeah.
Amatsu, yeah.
Mhm.
After seeing the flagships for Rise, or not the flagship, sorry, the true end bosses for Rise, I was so certain she was going to make it at some point as like a surprise, and she just never did.
Yeah. I'm kind of expecting Amatsu to make a return considering what those final bosses are
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
Rise
Mhm.
currently. I could totally see that. And,
But
yeah, I mean,
Hypnocratress, no,
I want him to come back too. I want Hypnoc to come back. I want Kurapeko to come back. Are you kidding me?
Kurapeko, yes,
Kurapeko would be an incredible
yes, no,
addition to come
Kurapeko would
back.
be great.
Yeah,
Kurapeko is just a chaos gremlin, and I love it.
yeah, and especially unless they change it, which I also hope that they change mounting in the way that it works in Rise, or if they
Sure,
change it in Sunbreak. But the idea is like they want you to mount monsters and stuff, and they want it to be chaotic. Well, bring a monster that does make it chaotic. Like they haven't even brought back Joe. Joe's not in the game. That's weird. Joe's in every
yeah,
Monster Hunter game
Joe's in everyone, yeah.
since he was released. So it's strange that he's not in yet, but I could see him
Maybe he'll be
returning.
in. Yeah, maybe he'll be in Sunbreak. Can't
Yeah.
break tradition, man.
Yeah, and honestly, while I still really, really fucking hate this iteration of this monster, I still genuinely appreciate and love to hell and back that they brought back Lunastra and World. I really
Yeah,
do.
that was a surprise. She
Yeah.
was gone for a while because they just had Teo cover
Yep.
that skeleton.
Yep, exactly. And you can tell that they were trying to figure out how do we make this monster different but still kind of keep the same theme because they're both fire, you know? They both burn you and blow you up and stuff. But how do we make it different and unique for her? And it's like blue fire. And they're like, "Uh-oh."
Burn.
Yeah, it's just and again, fight's kind of ridiculous and unfair in some aspects, and the tooltips were really like confusing and all over the place. But the design for that and how it used to be where it was just a fucking copy, but it was just a different color palette back when it first released compared to now is insane. And it's really cool that they were just like, okay, we're gonna bring her back and we're gonna change her. We're gonna make her a force to be reckoned with, and she will blow the shit out of anybody she wants. She'll blow them up, burn 'em to a crisp or whatever. Like it's really cool. And also they made a unique bonding
It was
animation.
so
Hmm.
cool.
Like it's really interesting. Um, but yeah, that's how I feel about the monster thing. If I'm really honest though, what I really want more than anything, just more maps. I really want more
Yeah.
maps. I I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I really, really hope that we get more than just one map, but I'm not gonna be surprised if they only get a map and some new arenas and whatever, because that's kind of the formula they've been following for the past few
Yeah.
years now. But man, I'm telling you, with Rise as it is currently, we have 2 returning maps, and then we had new maps, and the 2 returning maps are just absolutely phenomenal versions. The Rise versions of Sandy Plains and Flooded Forest are absolutely incredible. They still keep the whole iconic, like a few iconic locations where you look at that and be like, I know that, like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme pointing me, where he looks at the screen. There's that, the Flooded Forest, the giant pyramid. It's like addressing the elephant in the room. If you don't remember the giant pyramid and you played freaking three, then where were you looking? You know, like that was always there. And like certain pathways in the flooded forest and like one of the dead ends like in Rise currently. When you go all the way to the northwest corner of the map, there's that weird tree stump looking thing in the middle of that one area. That was also its own unique little map or zone in the original version, and it's like, "Whoa, that's cool. That's right. I know that." Like, it's interesting to see that stuff come back, while also seeing them expand on the background, like, just the world that the rest of the map you can't explore because it's just there to kinda add more depth and immersion. It's really interesting. It's not just all trees all around you, it's trees that are just all throughout the entire map, and then you can see a nice like this nice open like stream of water and everything, which was also kind of like that in one section of the original map too. So it's very interesting, and I would love to see them do that same thing for some old maps. Forest and Hills is something that can be remade with great wire bugs, and so can Misty Peaks, so can Deserted Island. All of these maps, Snowy Mountains, all of these 4 maps are that are insanely great maps that when they get remade and everything could actually have some really interesting mechanics and features with the wire bugs and some cool scenery, great
God,
screenshot potential,
a 4K Forest and Hills. Man.
and they'll still bring back the Death Hallway.
God. But yeah, I still remember being chased by all manner of creatures through it.
Yeah, man. Like so I would personally love them to bring back I would love them to have multiple maps come back or multiple maps in general for Sunbreak, but I would love them to just kind of do the thing where it's like let's take a few old maps, remake them, and then add a couple new maps as well, brand new ones, like just to kind of balance it like they did with base game. Um, but I would if I want to be greedy, bring back all those 4 maps I mentioned, and then like one new map because I mean we got to have a new map at some for something,
We
and
always got to be
then do
greedy.
whatever afterward. Yeah, I
Always
mean, it's
greedy.
fine.
That's what we want.
You gotta talk about what you love, you know?
Yeah. Um, I'll agree with you on the investigations because I like I like the whole investigations thing and I'm a person that loves their single player RPGs, but I always give up my single player RPGs for playing video games with friends. Like it
Mhm.
just always happens, and so there being more replayability, that's
Hmm.
that would be the best. But we are over our time here, and I will quickly ask Little's question.
Hey, you
Uh,
remembered.
yeah, fortunately for Little, I'll quickly ask this question. He just wants to know what's everybody's biggest anticipation game this year.
Ooh.
Year?
For this year, yeah, for this year. What's
It just
what's
started.
your most anticipated game this year?
That's tough.
just started.
Damn.
Kind of really do like the new God of War, bro.
I mean, I want to
boy.
say Elden Ring. I want to say
Elden Ring.
But we just got confirmation that From's working on Armored Core, so
Yeah, we did.
But
that's
is
not
that this year?
No, it's not
No.
this year. It's obviously not this year.
Exactly.
That's not coming out for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I don't mind waiting.
Oh man, it's a lot of options, man. A lot of games out there.
Probably for me, another one would probably be Gran Turismo 7.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm genuinely surprised to hear this.
I'm not surprised. He's a Gran Turismo connoisseur.
I did not know this about Sly.
Sly's like says like I see your Forza. No. Gran Turismo.
No.
I don't think I've even played since A-Spec.
It's getting so much better. It's gonna be prettier. God, I can't wait.
Well,
I'll answer. Just so good.
I'll answer. It's easy for me. One, if 16 comes out this year, it's 16. But if 16 doesn't come out this year, it's Horizon Forbidden West.
I don't know, for me, I think it's God of War. I think it just kind of has to be at the moment. Unless I'm forgetting like a lot of things, which, let's be real here, it's January. I probably am.
Yeah, seriously. I'm kind of, I want to say Sunbreak, but Sunbreak's an expansion pack, and I already love Rise as is, and that game came out last year, so I'm not gonna pick an expansion pack. I'm gonna pick an actual full proper game. And I so far I do feel like God of War is. When I think of a game that I was like really hoping for when I saw it last year or like the year before it as well, I was like, man, God of War, we're getting info on God of War. That's so cool. And I loved the first one on PS4.
That was great.
That was a really good time. I can't think of any other game though right now.
Yeah, I'm with Lavren on this one. Though I am looking forward to next month's drop for Sifu.
Sifu did look good. I will admit that was a good looking game when I first saw it.
Mm-hmm. It fulfills a nostalgic place in my heart for like the old Chopsaki films. So I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Yeah.
But God of War though.
I'm looking forward to Golem.
Yeah.
I love me a bit of Lord of the Rings stuff and sneaky Golem adventures. Yep.
It looks really good.
It does. It does.
And it remembers that, Golem has to speak to itself. It has two distinctly different personalities.
There is one more thing I'm wondering will appear at all this year or the next. Sly, when is the next Final Fantasy 14 Questions for Drake video coming out?
Oh my god.
It's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years. It's just leaking that.
Now, Leak put me on the spot. Holy shit. I gotta gather questions then.
Oh, that's your next next thing.
Drake's gone through a little bit of a transformation in these last few years, so yeah. Drake's in his feelings now.
Oh.
So understandably so.
Yeah, Drake's been in his feelings the last couple of albums, so yeah. Thanks for putting me on the spot, League.
That's what she's here for. Yeah. Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you, Lavren, for being you and loving Monster Hunter the way you do.
Oh, thank you for having me and for dealing with probably I was lagging at some point, but also for
no, you were perfect the entire time.
Sounded fine.
What?
Yep.
Cool.
Direct.
Comcast.
Comcast
Comcast didn't screw you.
But go ahead and shout out where people can find you guys.
So you go ahead, man. I'm chilling.
Okay. You can find me at twitch.tv/SLYAKGreyFox. You can find me on Twitter at SlyTheFox. And that's pretty much where I am. I mean, I'm
YouTube,
playing
the Velvet
video
Room.
games.
And YouTube,
That
the
too.
Velvet Room.
Yeah. I'm just playing the video games.
Sweet.
All right.
I'm simple.
But seriously, Lavren, where can we find you at?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Lavren if you want to see me press buttons very, very quickly. Don't blink because you will miss it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not an exaggeration.
It's not.
But also, my Twitter is at Lavren2009. I have a YouTube that I just kind of upload VODs and save memories and whatnot of. I mean, I don't really plug it in though, honestly, because it's just kind of there. I stick to the Twitch and Twitter related stuff personally.
All right. Well, thank you two for coming on. We really appreciate it. Yeah. And we'll
Thank you,
most
man.
likely have you on after Sunbreak comes out.
Oh, you know we will.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But if the people watching or listening have made it to the end, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and we will see you all next week.
Goodbye.
Take care.
Before you go, remember to like, comment, and sub to us. Not only does it help out the channel and let us know what you're into, but it also makes you 100% cooler than everybody else. I checked with Aqua. It's definitely true.